Welcome to another go-round of Soccer is in Session on the live side, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente and KP Georgia. John here, you there. Busy show. We finished up round one of the 2024 GHSA playoffs on Friday, and it was the AA, the Quad A, and the 6A boys in their rounds of 32. We're going to cover each of those classifications, and we'll get you ready for their second round matchups coming up later on this week. We have representation from each classification. Philip Thomas from River Ridge is going to be joining us in short order. We'll catch up with him and find out about life in 6A for one of the top 5 teams in the country, according to our friends at Max Preps. Coming up at 12:20, we go down to the coast and catch up with our friends at Islands High, the Sharks. Justin Brantley, their head coach, is going to join us at 12:20. And right after him, we go to the Pinelands and catch up with Jeff Davis Soccer and their head coach Brian Lawson joining us in and around 12:30. And so it's going to be a very, very packed show, and it's going to be a fun show as we get into the second round. And to let you know about our broadcast schedule for the second round tomorrow night, we're going to be at Tom Robinson Memorial Stadium on the campus of North Gwinnett High School. It's going to be Mill Creek girls, and it is going to be the North Gwinnett girls going at it tomorrow. So it'll be Mill Creek and North Gwinnett on the network, and that will be I think it's a 7:30 kick. So you will get to get a bit of a pregame show, and then we're going to have the matchup for you. So we'll all be up at Tom Robinson Memorial and getting you ready for that matchup. And then Thursday, we are going to be in the girls once again, and Jason will be down in Perry. Catch up with the Perry Panthers, and it's a matchup that's intriguing on a bunch of different fronts. Trinity Christian, big winners in round number 1, will go and take on the Perry Panthers. It's a 6 o'clock start because of travel and such. So you're going to start seeing, especially with distances that are pretty big. You saw them in round number 1, but you're going to continue to see them. If the distance is what my dear friend Tommy Palmer used to say was a pack a lunch, a dinner, and a midnight snack trip, then what it was is you get earlier start times, and you make sure that folks can get down safely and return home safely if you're traveling a fair distance. And so 6 o'clock start in Perry, and it's going to be Trinity Christian and their goalkeeper coach, our friend Jessica Charman. She is going to be down with Trinity Christian and our friend Mike Townsend. They're going to be down in Perry taking on the Perry Panthers. That is at 6 o'clock. And we're going to be on, Jason's going to be on a little before 6 to get you started with that one. And so those are our 2 matches in round number 2 this week here on the network. And so looking forward to catching up with our friends in Perry, and looking forward to catching up with our friends in at North Gwinnett as well, catching up with Matt Champito, the head coach at Matt Champito, the athletic director at North Gwinnett. And then it's we'll be catching up with North Gwinnett and Mill Creek coming up in short order. Before we're joined by Coach Thomas, let me get you through 6A boys and what happened in day number 1 back on Friday. And we'll go left-hand side of the bracket because I know that you're filling out your brackets in pen as we go forward here. So upper left-hand side of your bracket. St. Pius goes on the road to Thomasville and beats Thomas County Central by the final of 1-0. So Pius advances, and they'll take on Glen Academy. We're going to try and catch up with the Red Terrors and find out about what they've been able to do down there in Region 2. The Region 2 champs beat Rockdale County, and they're going to host St. Pius. So St. Pius goes to Thomasville in round number 1, and then this Friday, they're having to travel down to the coast to Brunswick. So Thomasville last Friday, Brunswick this Friday, they're going to take on Glen Academy. Lassiter beats Sequoia on the boys' side by the final of 2-1 in another 3-2. So Lassiter wins on the road. They're going to travel to South Paulding, 2-1 winners over Lanier in the 1-4. So upper left, St. Pius at Glen Academy. Lassiter is at South Paulding. Low left, Marist, no problems with Houston County. They move on. They're going to take on Woodward Academy. So Woodward Academy, 2-0 winners over Evans. It's going to be Marist and Woodward Academy coming up, and that one is on Friday as well. Also, Sprayberry beat Etowah by the final of 2-1. Habersham Central shut out Douglas County. So it's going to be Marist at Woodward, down by Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Sprayberry gets to travel to Mount Airy to take on Habersham Central. That's low left in your brackets in 6A. Also on the board, upper right, Alexander loses to North Forsyth in a 2-3. Alexander goes on the road. They lose to North Forsyth, and so North Forsyth advances. They'll take on Johns Creek. Johns Creek is going to host because they shut out Rome by the final of 3-0. North Forsyth will go to Johns Creek. Grovetown, 2-0 winners over Morrow, so a 3 upsets a 2 on the road, and Grovetown is going to go to North Atlanta. North Atlanta in a 1-4 goalless draw. They go for the extra 20. Nothing's resolved. So after 100 minutes, they go to PKs. North Atlanta wins in PKs. So it's North Forsyth at Johns Creek, Grovetown at North Atlanta. That's the upper right part of the bracket. Then low right, and this is where our friend Coach Thomas gets into the discussion. Gainesville shuts out East Paulding in a 3-2. You've heard Gainesville on the SDH network this season, so you know what Gainesville brings to the table. Shutting out East Paulding on the road 3-0. We'll try to catch up with our friends from Gainesville this week as well. River Ridge beats Blessed Trinity by the final of 4-1. And so Blessed Trinity, as the 4 seed, they go by the wayside. Gainesville will travel to River Ridge. And frankly, this is going to be one of the fun matchups in round number 2 with Gainesville traveling to River Ridge. And we'll catch up with Coach Thomas and we'll get his thoughts about what happened in the first round and what's going on in the second round as well. So big matchups for all of them. And that's going to be one of the big matchups on Friday with those two going at it. Gainesville on the road at River Ridge. It is a 3-1, but Gainesville, with their high-powered offense, it's going to be really interesting to see how they go up against River Ridge. The other matchup on the right-hand side of the bracket, South Effingham, no problem with Forest Park. Forest Park having to travel all the way down to Effingham County, just outside of Savannah. And it is Riverwood in a 1-4 traveling to Kathleen. That's the name of the town. Literally, that is the name of the town in Houston County. It is in the southeast corner of Houston County. Veterans is in the town of Kathleen. That's the mailing address. So Riverwood travels to Veterans, winning that one by the final of 3-2. So Riverwood, for winning in Middle Georgia, gets to travel all the way practically to the coast for round number 2 on Friday to take on South Effingham. So it will be Riverwood at South Effingham, the 4 traveling to the 2, and that's what you're going to be looking at in 6A when it comes to your second round matchups. Really looking forward to a couple of these matchups right off the jump, but honestly, the one that really does jump out at you is that second round matchup with Gainesville at River Ridge, a stern test for River Ridge. Gainesville, once again, we've seen what Gainesville has been able to do in activity this season. So Gainesville and River Ridge, that is going to be the one to keep an eye on in 6A. So after the matchups on Friday in 6A in Quad A, and like I said, we're going to catch up with Justin Brantley at Islands coming up in about 12 minutes. LaGrange over Cairo 3-2. They are going to host Southeast Bullock. Southeast Bullock went on the road to beat West Lawrence by the final of 4-0. And so Southeast Bullock, the Yellow Jackets, will travel from Brooklet, and they're going to travel to LaGrange. They're going to go from one end of the state to the other for their second round matchup. The 4 advances. They'll take on the 3. LaGrange wins at Cairo, and they're going to host Southeast Bullock in round number 2. Northwest Whitfield 1-0 winners against Clarkston, a great first-round matchup in Quad A. Northwest Whitfield advances. We've had them on the network this season. You know what they can bring to the table. Clarkston, 1-0 losers on the road in Tunnel Hill. Northwest Whitfield will host Cedar Shoals. Cedar Shoals, the 4 seed, knocks off the 1 seed Pace Academy. So you end up with Cedar Shoals at Northwest Whitfield, LaGrange hosting Southeast Bullock, and that is going to be the upper left-hand section of the bracket in Quad A. Whitewater shuts out Shaw. Islands shuts out Spalding 5-0. Like I said, we'll catch up with Justin Brantley and get his thoughts on what's going on with the Islands program and the Sharks. So Islands will host Whitewater. Whitewater had the home match against Shaw. They get to travel to the coast to take on the Sharks coming up on Friday. Whitewater and Islands. Druid Hills goes to Cedartown. Coach Thomas Bodnar and his group, they beat Cedartown, shut out the Bulldogs 2-0. So Druid Hills is the 3, goes to Johnson Gainesville. Another big matchup. This one in Quad A. That one's going to be a fun one as well, but Druid Hills has to go on the road to the Dungeon to take on Johnson Gainesville and the Knights. That one's going to work its way through, and that'll be a big second-round matchup. Also on the board in the juggling guests here. Hang on just a second. Coach Thomas got pulled into a meeting, so this is the beauty of live TV. So it looks like we're going to be getting our first guest will be Justin Brantley, catching up with him in about 10 minutes. So, all right. So you sit there and you type something and you think it's going to work, but it doesn't because of fat fingers. So, all right. So we're going to reschedule Coach Thomas from River Ridge, and we'll see if he can join us tomorrow. Also in Quad A, right-hand side of the bracket, East Forsyth over Woodland Stockbridge. That was a 1-0 final. East Forsyth as the 2 will host Holy Innocents. Holy Innocents went on the road and beat Southeast Whitfield. That's a big one. Southeast Whitfield out of the Quad A's as a 1 seed. So Holy Innocents as the 4 wins it 2-1, and East Forsyth is now going to be the home side, upper right-hand side of the bracket. And Holy Innocents to East Forsyth. Big upset in the 1-4 as Holy Innocents gets the Duke. Benedictine wins at home. They shut out Griffin. They will take on Stars Mill. So Benedictine's going to have to travel to Stars Mill. Stars Mill, no problem with Hardaway. So upper right in Quad A, it is Holy Innocents, the 4 seed at East Forsyth, and it will be Benedictine, the 2 seed, traveling to the number 1 seed, Stars Mill. Low right, Lovett over Cherokee Bluff by the final of 2-0. They will travel to Westminster. So Lovett and Westy going at it in the second round on Friday. The battle of East Paces Ferry is going to be at Westminster at Fritz Orr Field. Westminster shuts out Heritage Catoosa 4-0, and Lovett will go to Westminster. Wayne County, after catching up with Coach Dooley, that match was scheduled a day early. That was actually played back on the 18th. It was on Thursday. So we knew that Wayne County was advancing. They travel to Bainbridge. Troop and Bainbridge went to PKs, 100 minutes, solved nothing. They were tied at 1. Bainbridge wins in PKs by the final of 4-2. So Bainbridge over Troop. And so your low right, Lovett at Westminster, Wayne County at Bainbridge. And that gets you through your action in Quad A. So AA boys on the left-hand side. Fitzgerald's boys and girls did really well in AA. We're going to try and catch up with the Fitzgerald sides as well as we go here. Fitzgerald, no problem with Westside Augusta. They're going to travel to Spencer to take on the Green Wave. We've had the Green Wave coaching staff on Soccer's in Session just to kind of get the lay of the land for the successes that the Green Wave have had when it comes to the last handful of seasons, winning region titles and such. So Spencer beats Tattnall County. Tattnall County had to travel from Reedsville all the way to Columbus, and that was a 3-0 final. So Fitzgerald travels to Spencer. Fannin County, once again, the Blue Devils, the Rebels. So the Rebels of Fannin County get the win on both the boys and the girls' sides, beating North Cobb Christian out of Region 6 on the girls' side and beating Mount Perrin Christian on the boys' side. Traveled on the road to beat Mount Perrin. So the Rebels win 4-1. They get to host because Landmark loses to Fellowship Christian. Fellowship Christian wins at 3-2. So Fannin gets a second-round home game on Friday, hosting Fellowship Christian on the boys' side, upper left-hand, as you're looking at your bracket in AA. So Fitzgerald at Spencer and Fellowship Christian, the 4 seed, travels to the 3 seed, Fannin County. Low left, it is Berrien, no problem with Josie as the 3 seed. They went on the road all the way to Augusta. They go from Nashville to Augusta, no problem. Win as the 3 seed, and they are going to travel to Lyons to take on Toombs County. Toombs County, no problem with Kendrick. So Berrien travels to Toombs. Drew shuts out Gordon Central by the final of 1-0, and they will travel to East Jackson. East Jackson had no problem with Elite Scholars. So it is Berrien at Toombs, and Drew Charter is at East Jackson. That's the left-hand side of the bracket when it comes to your AA matchups. And upper right, Union County beats Tower 6-1. So Union County advances. They travel from one end of the state to the other. They have to go to Model. Model, no problem with North Cobb Christian. So Union County will be at Model on Friday. Pierce County beats Jordan by the final of 5-1. They will travel, and they will travel to Eatonton to take on Putnam County. Putnam County shuts out Cook by the final of 3-0. So it's Union County at Model, Pierce County at Putnam County. That's upper right hand in your brackets in AA as you're following along. Low right, Providence Christian, no problem with Callaway on the road in Hogansville. That was a 3 versus a 2. So Providence Christian still on the road. Walker, the Walker School was your region champ in Region 6. They shut out Murray County 3-0. So Providence Christian travels to the Walker School. And your other matchup in AA, Appling County over Ace Charter. That was a 3-1 final. And so Baxley wins in a 3-2 as they had to travel to Middle Georgia to knock off Ace Charter. And Appling County will go to Jeff Davis, and that will set up our 12:30 guest in Brian Lawson. And Brian Lawson, the head coach at Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis's boys and girls doing well in Region 1. Jeff Davis, no problem with Butler winning that one in shutout fashion. So it is Providence Christian at the Walker School, Appling County at Jeff Davis, and that sets up all of your matchups in 2A, 4A, and 6A. Our broadcast schedule once again tomorrow, it is Mill Creek at North Gwinnett on the girls' side, and we'll be there a little ahead of time for the pregame, and we will walk you through it with all the matchups going on in 7A, and we will keep you posted from Tom Robinson Memorial Stadium on that. Jason, once again, will be in Perry on Thursday, 6 o'clock start for a Trinity Christian at Perry. So Trinity Christian at Perry is on the network on Thursday, and tomorrow it is Mill Creek at North Gwinnett. And if you are looking for the network, go to a Mixlr, and that is where we do all of our live content this year, and that is where you can find it. Go onto the Mixlr app. You can download it or you can access it on the web, and you go to Soccer Down Here. Do a Soccer Down Here search if you're looking for specific channels, or if you're on the web, go to soccerdownhere.mixlr.com, soccerdownhere.mixlr.com, and you can download it to your phone, and you can listen to any of our live content that we have, whether it is high school, it's college, it is Atlanta United 2, all of that is where it is housed this year. It's on the Mixlr app and the website at soccerdownhere.mixlr.com. So really looking forward to calling the matches this week on all different levels. But Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to do 7A girls on Tuesday, and on Thursday, we're going to be in Perry, catching up with Trinity Christian and Perry for that matchup. Like I said, all our Soccer's in Session lives are on the Mixlr platform, and you can take a peek there, and you can listen to all of the past episodes. You can download the SDH app. You can sit there and listen to it there as well, and it'll be all of the archived interviews that we have, they're there. All of our discussions are there as well. So it's going to be a fun time here looking at the playoffs each and every week, and catching up with everybody all across the state. And so now, let's see, we're going to do this, I think, in an audio fashion, and it's going to be time to catch up with head coach at Islands, Justin Brantley, and it's going to be great to catch up with him and find out what's going on down there at Islands High. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us here on Soccer's in Session. Did I pull you away from lunch duty or a class?
No, you're fine. You called me at a perfect time, so I'm good to go.
Cool. So when it comes to Islands, I know that a lot of folks know that Islands is on the coast. Full disclosure, Carl Damasi and I go way back with our American football days.
Yeah.
When it comes to Islands as a program, what has it been like to kind of do things on the coast away from everybody else? Has it been something where it's like you can just kind of focus on you, or are folks looking at the coast and looking at Islands?
Yeah, it's a unique situation. I mean, I'm from the Atlanta area, grew up in McDonough, went to Eagles Landing High School, and then transitioned after college down to Savannah. And yeah, it's very isolated. There's some really good soccer down here, but a lot of people just obviously don't know, about us and a lot about our program, which is why, throughout this season and last season, we tried to make it a goal to get in front of as many eyes as we could in the Atlanta area, which is, one thing that, I've really enforced this year is to try to have an Atlanta schedule per se, just to get us the exposure that we need for the playoff run that hopefully we can have.
Yeah, and you certainly did that. When you look at your grid, I mean, this is something where you really wanted to challenge your crew, because you're 12-5-1, and your schedule included a trip playing Statesboro, playing Seconder, playing River Ridge, who you lost to in late February. I'm trying to talk through the
Yeah. I'm sorry about the bells.
The class schedule change.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're looking at Peachtree Ridge, you're looking at Seconder, you're looking at River Ridge, nationally ranked top 5. You lose to them 4-1 at the tail end of February, and then you get into region play. So you really did want to challenge yourself with those road trips, because in other sports, you know that you're going to be probably on the road at some point in the postseason, and going up against a Peachtree Ridge, a Seconder, and a River Ridge will certainly do those kinds of things and get you ready for the playoffs. And if you've got to go on the road, really, making sure that you're road prepared for runs like this in the third season.
Absolutely. And the one thing too that I challenge our kids is, a lot of those schools that we play, the Peachtree Ridges, the River Ridge, Glenn, South Effingham, all of those schools are much larger than we are. And they're very, very senior and junior heavy, where we're not, right? We're currently starting 4 freshmen. We've got 3 sophomores that are also starting. So our team is very, very young. And the only way to kind of introduce these kids to high school soccer is to expose them to the best. And so, throughout the season, we've had our bumps, we've had our ups and downs, but I thought we've been able to really build from those games. And it really has allowed our coaching staff to say, hey guys, we've played some of the best teams in the state. I mean, the River Ridge game in particular, it was a 1-1 game till the final 20 minutes of the game. So I mean, we played really well. We stuck to our strategy, and it really has paid dividends for us this second half of the season.
All right, time to brag on your roster a little bit. What's it been like with this group scoring a lot of goals and being one of the stout teams on the coast? What's it been like with this bunch this year?
It's been a challenge, but it's been a blessing. We've got, like I said, we're very young. We have 3 seniors right now that are really leading us to kind of challenging our younger guys to be better each and every day and each and every practice. But yeah, we've got some fantastic players. We do. We have some. We have a senior in Ryan Winters, who is our 9. He's a guy up top that has been able to really thrive in pressure situations. He was the one who scored against Peachtree Ridge. He had the goal against River Ridge. So huge testament to his growth from last season to this season. We've got arguably one of our best players, Evan Narvez. He plays on the wing for us, and just his ability to get down the line and provide service to the other guys, and his ability to beat guys one-on-one has been a testament. And then, all the way from our back 4, right? Like I said, we're very young. So at the very beginning of the season, a lot of people thought I was crazy, but our 2 center backs were freshmen. And it's not ideal when you're going against Peachtree Ridge at a UNG showcase and you've got 2 14-year-olds that are trying to hold down your back line. But they've played fantastic this year. We've switched up our formation, I think 6 or 7 times throughout the season, but it's paid dividends for us, and we're excited. So
Justin Brantley, the head coach at Islands High, talking Quad A, getting through the first round, beating Spalding 5-0, getting ready for Whitewater coming up on Friday. Brian Lawson is in the on-deck circle. We're going to talk Double A with him in the Pinelands down in Jeff Davis coming up in a couple of minutes. So what are your takeaways from that 5-0 win over Spalding that you can apply to the matchup on Friday with Whitewater coming to town?
So it's very tough. I mean, each game is its own kind of beast and its own being. With Spalding, they had a fantastic season, and they played very defensively. They had good shape throughout the game. I know Whitewater is going to be a huge challenge, though, seeing it. So that's the team that we lost to last year. Our whole mindset this year was kind of the revenge season, right? We beat BC last year at home, and then we went on the road and kind of laid an egg in our region championship. And so this year we kind of did the reverse. We lost there 2-1, and we were like, all right, well, this is the time that we kind of get our revenge back, and we were able to do so and win 3-1. And last year, kind of the same thing. We drew Whitewater in the first round, so it's like, all right, this is the team that knocked us out last year 1-0. So revenge part 2, here we go. So that's kind of our mantra for this week. So,
and when you get ready for something like this, is your approach any different in the third season than it is during the non-region schedule or your region play? Trying not to focus. I mean, you know that it is a revenge situation, but you don't want to get wrapped up in a revenge situation and not focus on the task at hand. How delicate a balance is that, knowing that you're in round number 2 and you've got a chance to get into the grade 8 after this?
Well, I think the most challenging part is dealing with 14 to 18-year-old boys. That's the biggest challenge. I mean, you never know what challenges can be thrown your way from week to week, whether that be a girl situation or all kinds of nonsense that happens throughout the school day, right? So that's of course a challenge. But yeah, I mean, you're trying to constantly motivate these kids to keep them engaged and keep challenging them to try to be their best self. And sometimes that's easier said than done. I mean, I thought, especially against Spalding last week, we came out very flat. And the message at halftime was, guys, this won't work against a team like Whitewater, if we get, past that. I mean, we've got so many challenging games ahead that, we've got to be able to be productive in the final third and make sure that we take care of our chances. So.
Well, looking forward to it. You made it out of round number 1 with a shutout of Spalding, and you got Whitewater coming to town on the 26th. So Friday to Friday, and we're looking forward to seeing how things go with you and the matchup with Whitewater and how things are going with you down there at Islands in Quad A. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Soccer's in Session. Go get some lunch.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. That is how things are with the Sharks. And being of a certain demographic, I would sit there and say, yeah, we're going from Sharks to Jets. Not quite. We're going from Sharks to Yellow Jackets. Time to go down to the Pinelands and catch up with Brian Lawson, the head coach of Jeff Davis. And Coach, thanks for hanging out with us. Where if you are wearing blue, you are as good as gold. How have things been down there with Jeff Davis? And congrats on the win in round number 1.
Thank you. It's been really good. Last year we were able to host our first playoff game in program history, being the 2 seed, and laid an egg pretty early. And this year, locking up the 1 seed with a few games remaining really helped us stay healthy getting into the postseason. So it's our first region championship in school history on the boys' side. So we're pretty excited.
I mean, you finished your 12-6-1, 10-2 in region play. How daunting is the region knowing that you're going 2 cycles through? Because some folks, they'll just know that if there's reclassification, we're going to play you one time and we'll play you one time in the 2 years of reclass, but you're playing a 12-game region schedule. I mean, that's got to be rough.
Yeah, it is, especially since if you get the upper hand on somebody the first time through, everybody's got film so they can try and fix those mistakes in the second half of it. When I first got here a few years ago, we played everybody once, so we thought we got shafted a couple times on a few games where they were really close to call here and there, and we didn't get the second opportunity to see a Vidalia or a Benedictine or a Toombs County that we might have fell too early on. So we're able to right the ship with these, being able to play each other twice. But then same chord, we were undefeated going into the last 2 games of region play and ended up falling in our last 2 to Cook County and Fitzgerald. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, Fitzgerald's been making some inroads on both the boys and the girls' sides. For someone who has not been to the Pinelands, to see Jeff Davis and to see the program grow, what is the soccer footprint like? What is the appreciation and the fan engagement and the school engagement been like as you've been taking this? You and the staff have been taking this program to these new heights. What's it like down there in the Pinelands when you mention Jeff Davis and soccer?
So our mantra here with Jeff Davis and soccer is you don't rebuild, you reload. And that's what we started when we first got here. We're in our 9th, 10th year of the program. It was 2 years started before I got here about 8 years ago. And when officials have to stop games because the fans are so loud and rambunctious in the crowd, like that's a good sign. And that's what I walked into my first 2 years here. Like it was a little rowdy, and like that's what we wanted to bring was the 12th man in the bleachers. You hear about it with Seattle Sounders, they brought it, and the 11 at Atlanta United. That you want to have the same environment here down south because look, football, Southern football, American football is big, and when the next season comes around, you want our football to be a little big also and be rowdy in the bleachers. So we got a big one this week. If you want to talk about a rowdy environment down south, we're going to have it. So,
yeah, let's get into that. Although I do want to catch up with your conversations that you have with Lance Helton. I want to see what conversations you guys have on a daily basis. No problems with Butler. But now you end up with Appling County coming to the Pinelands. I mean, this is Baxley and this is Hazelhurst. I mean, this is I'm almost looking at this as if it was Lance Helton and Jordan Mullis going at it. I mean, that's the kind of environment that I'm envisioning with this one. Am I far off here?
Oh, no. And look now, I don't know if you've looked at the schedule. This is the third time we're seeing them this year. We went over there earlier in the year and fell 5-4 in a very close back and forth ball game where it was rowdy. And then we get them here later in the year. Usually we play them early on. So later for us had a little implication on some things. And we had a player get hurt early on and it put us behind. And we ended up falling 6-3. So for the third time this year, Appling County is going to be coming to the Pinelands this Friday at 6:00, and it's going to be an environment. So we're excited.
No doubt about it. All right, time to brag on your roster a little bit for someone who hasn't seen a team that is doing what you guys have been doing this year in AA. Who are folks that folks need to be paying attention to?
We have a senior striker in Tony Toledo. He didn't play with us as a freshman, thought he was a basketball player, and decided to give us a shot. And he's 22 goals on the season, put up 5 against Butler. He's become a player for us. We have Gal Valora, who's our midfielder, who was a first-team All-Region kid last year in all classification or all AA, all-state selection for the GHSA. He's a junior, 22 goals, 18 assists for us. And also Kevin Vega in the back, senior center back for us, who's been with us all 4 years, started as a freshman. Our back end is really senior heavy, so we got some good kids just not on the field, but also in the classroom too. They're good players for us.
When it comes to this particular matchup, I know that it's easy to sit there and say, okay, there's no secrets between Appling and Jeff Davis. But is there something in the back of the playbook? Is there going to be something on the training ground this week that you might be working on that you'll sit there and maybe pull out of your sleeve if the moment calls for it? Or is it just going to be, look, this is who we are. We know who they are. We're just going to go out there and go after it for 80 minutes. And if it takes longer than 80, it takes longer than 80.
It's just like I'm also a American football coach. So you always have those trick plays, and we got stuff we've been working on all year for certain situations that we practice every practice. We usually about once or twice a week we hit it, and you might not see it but once every 2 or 3 years. But we got a couple things just in case. And look now, they've been beating our butts the last 2 times we played them, so we're going to have to figure out something different. Like they just need to keep doing what they're doing, and we're going to have to change what we do. Like I know we're the 1 seed and they're coming to our place, but we're the one that's got a little chip on our shoulder trying to prove something because, I mean, you can't lose to Baxley 3 times in a season, so we'll figure it out, I guess.
Brian Lawson, head coach of Jeff Davis, hanging out with us for another couple of minutes here on Soccer's in Session, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. So do you have head coach discussions with Lance Helton, the American football coach there, and do you guys try to compare notes about when it comes to coaching? And it's like, okay, hey, I experienced this at practice. I've seen it at our practice during American football season. I'm having it over here on this side during football season. Do you have those co-head coaching conversations about what's going on with your practices and such?
100%, because when we first came here, I came with him on the football staff year 1 also. I'm assistant head coach for Coach Helton. I've been coaching O-line with him the last few years on the offensive side, and we come in with the same weight room mindset we did with football. And here the soccer players we had weren't really invested as much. And I think that investment that we put in, not just in football, but all boys sports now, has really elevated our program where it is on the soccer side. And definitely, look, me and Coach Helton are huge. We're friends. We see each other every day in the hallways. I'm up here at the high school with him, and if I see something going on, I go pick his brain. He does the same thing on my end. So it's really good we see each other all year round. So there's nothing new or crazy. We come up with each other with different ideas here and there. So it's good.
When you were making your coaching philosophy for football, who did you look at? I mean, how much of the game do you watch outside of what you're doing there at the high school there in Hazelhurst? How big a fan are you? Who do you sit there and follow along with coaches, or do you just kind of come up with your own style and maybe like reference others and read and things? How did you come up with your philosophy, and who do you follow?
I have been I've coached a little bit of everything in my life, all sports, and I've taken a little bit from everything from high school tennis to high school track, the baseball, the soccer, the football, and have molded into this. This is the longest tenure sport other than football I've ever coached at a school location I've been at. And I think me being able to take things from other sports and also other professional sports, like when I first started watching football here, it was I remember 2006 World Cup, watching Germany and those guys play, and that really is what got my interest in. When I was a junior in high school, I wasn't even a soccer guy at that time, and I just fell in love with it. And ever since then, I'm a Clint Dempsey fan, U.S. Soccer, always have been. And his mindset and really bulldog-like approach. We used to term the catch dogs here with our American football program, and we call our kids here the Los Catch Dogs. Like we take the same philosophy where you're going to give everything you got on the pitch until you can't give no more until you give out, and we'll drag you off if we got to. But we don't flop. We're tough. We fight through contact. We're not looking for calls here and there. We're here to finish plays and finish the game. And we don't get injured. I don't let my kids lay on the pitch. They get up, they stand up, we fight. And I think that approach that we've taken 8 years ago has now got us to where, we're region champs and we're hosting the second round, hopefully trying to get to the Elite Eight for the third time.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So the way the bracket is, as things are, they are low right in your bracket as you fill things out in pen and AA. It is Providence Christian at the Walker School. It is Appling County, 3-1 winners over Ace Charter. The 3 seed beat the 2 on the road in Middle Georgia. Appling County, Jeff Davis. So if somebody wants to try to get in the door, if they want to get in the door on a football Friday, an FUTBOL Friday, and I know that Lance is probably like, so if somebody wants to get in the door at the Highland, in the Pinelands on a football Friday, tell them when, what's going on. Hit the promo for me about this one. This one's going to be special.
So we talk about football in the South, and the Pinelands Friday night, 6:00 under the lights. You'll hear the horn going. That Lane United horn will be blasting. It's going to be standing room only. We set an attendance record the last time they came here in the beginning, right after spring break. So hopefully it's going to happen again. Just bring your noisemakers, be loud. Student section is going to be rowdy. It's going to be a crazy environment here on Friday. If you want to see what football has become in South Georgia, and we talk about the bigger classifications up north and all that, but little old Hazelhurst down here in Baxley, we're going to put on a show, and we're going to be the only show in town also. So we're ready to get it on Friday, definitely.
Fantastic. I am looking forward to this. What I may do, make sure that Lance is at the match, so that way I can get updates as to what's going on with this one. Make sure that Lance is there. He's taking the Heltons. They're there in the crowd. I need Lance to text me updates as to what's going on. I'm looking forward to this on a bunch of different reasons. I'm going to email you some questions after the show, just some completely and totally self-serving things. But I want to get some more details on what's going on down there in Jeff Davis. I am looking forward to this. Thank you for doing this. And it's great to open up a window as to what's going on down there in the Pinelands and how football is turning things into a football Friday. I love this. Fantastic. Brian, thanks for coming on the show. We're going to keep an eye on you and go get him against Appling County on Friday.
Hey, thank you, John. Hey, appreciate everything you're doing for us down here in South Georgia. And, hey, to quote Coach Helton, when you're wearing Navy, you're as good as gold.
There it is. When you're wearing Navy, it's as good as gold. Thank you for fixing that for me. I thought it was blue. But, yeah, when you're wearing Navy, it's as good as gold. Go get lunch. That's fantastic. Sir. Brian Lawson, the head coach. Wearing Navy is good as gold. You'd think I'd remember that by now. But that was fantastic. See now, Coach Lawson. He's in the green room. I can still see him. He's properly hydrating. See, he gave 10 minutes. And now he's properly hydrating. He's making sure that the rest of his day as he's getting into practice, he's properly hydrating here at lunch. Fantastic. That's what this is all about. Brian Lawson, the head coach at Jeff Davis. Appling County and Jeff Davis. If you are in South Georgia, where is Hazelhurst, you say? Where is Hazelhurst? I will tell you where Hazelhurst is. Hazelhurst is, I think it's the best way to wear a Navy is as good as gold. See, now that's going to stick with me. I got to grab my Jeff Davis. I got to find my Jeff Davis gear now. Hazelhurst, Georgia. Okay. we're going to do a Google search to wrap up the show today. Once again, tomorrow it is Mill Creek and North Gwinnett, girls side, and that is 7:30 kick, and we're going to have that on the network. Be on a little beforehand, and we're going to let things roll with that broadcast, and we'll keep you posted on everything else going on on the girls side. With all the scores that come in, me, Jason, and Maddie will be there. And then on Thursday, it is Perry hosting Trinity Christian. That'll be on the network 6 o'clock, a little before 6 o'clock kick. So Jason will be on the air a little before 6 o'clock to get you through Trinity Christian and Perry down in Perry. But tomorrow, Mill Creek at North Gwinnett on the girls' side. Thursday, Trinity Christian Perry, and that is on the girls' side as well. So looking forward to that. Okay, Hazelhurst, Georgia. Population 4,088. Hazelhurst, Georgia. Population 4,088 in the 2020 census. So let's do the Google Maps. Let's do the Google Maps thing, and we can sit there and go, okay, where is Hazelhurst, Georgia? This is today's thing to focus on. And when the show is over, I am going to call Lance Helton. This is going to be amazing. All right. So Hazelhurst, Georgia. You go on Georgia 341, and it is like you're going down to the coast, basically. And you go through Telfair County, you go through McRae and Helena, and you could work your way through 441 if you want. So if you are going, basically what you want to do, if you are going to Hazelhurst, Georgia, you can do one of two things. You can go I-16 and work your way down 441 through Telfair County. You turn left, you go down 341, you're there in Hazelhurst. And it's Hazelhurst and Baxley. Literally the two towns that are next to each other on 341, Hazelhurst and Baxley. I'm not kidding. They are right there with each other. That's what this one means. It means a lot during FOOTBAL season, FUTBOL season. Fantastic. So you can do it one of two ways. You can go I-16 out of Macon, heading to Savannah, go south on 441 into Telfair County, say hi to the Telfair County Trojans. You turn east, go down 341 through Lumber City, and you end up in Hazelhurst. Or you can go to Perry, down 75 south. You go to Perry, you turn left, you go southeast, you take 341 once again, and then that travels you through everything in Telfair County, and that gets you into Hazelhurst. So, directions. To give you an idea, Appling County High School. So, Appling County High School on the Blackshear Highway. To Jeff Davis High School on Collins Street in Hazelhurst. 19 miles apart on 341. You go through Hazelhurst, you go through Graham, you go through Pine Grove, you get to Baxley. That gets you to Appling County. And then you go south and out of Baxley to Appling County High School. Two schools separated by 19 miles. Traditionally in the fall, these two schools are really, they are really beating up on their opponents. But it is now a football Friday in Hazelhurst. Fantastic environment for this one. I cannot wait to hear what's going on a football Friday in this matchup in AA. And, of course, it's the last matchup in the bracket as you're going. Appling County and Jeff Davis. Appling County and Jeff Davis. This one is going to be crazy. So if you are anywhere, get your tickets now. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Match is on Friday. Get your tickets now. Get your tickets now because you know that the Jeff Davis student body will be there. You know that Appling County is going to travel the 19 miles to this one. This one is going to be in AA. I'm going to call it a heavyweight fight, but you've had, once again, as Brian said, Appling County has played Jeff Davis already twice this season. They were missing some folks. But Appling County has gotten the best. It was 5-4 on February 8th, and that one was in Baxley. And then They lose 6-3, January, February, March, April, 2 weeks ago. So that's what you're staring at with these two matchups. Appling County has won 6-3. They have won 5-4. Match number 3 in this series this season is on a Football Friday, FUTBOL, in the Pinelands for an opportunity to play on April 30 in the Grade 8, Elite 8, whatever you want to call them. I don't want to get us sued. But that's what you're looking at. You are looking at that matchup. If you are anywhere within earshot, I'm going to recommend you go to that match. That's going to do it for another round of Soccer's in Session. I think we're going to catch up with Philip Thomas tomorrow. We'll get you ready for everything else going on in and around the state. Brought to us by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente for all that is you. Thanks to all of our partners all season long with the broadcasts that we have on the SDH Network. Our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps, Hattrick Football Agency, Subaru of Gwinnett, and Kaiser Permanente, and our friends earlier in the year with our friends with U.S. Soccer and USSoccer.com. You got to help out to put $50,000 in Mercedes-Benz for the She Believes Cup. So very, very cool. But Football Friday in the Pinelands, that is going to be special. And that's why we do this show, to come up with stories like that, to let everybody know what's going on. So for everybody here at SDH, we'll be back again noon tomorrow, let you know what's going on in and around the state when it comes to the playoffs. Noon every day that we have the playoffs. We're going to be right here on the SDH Network. We're going to roll it over, and you can hear the audio coming up in just a little bit. Obviously, if you download the SDH app, follow along on socials, it's going to be there, and that's what you're staring at with Soccer's in Session live here during the postseason. So for everybody here at SDH, once again, we'll see you at North Gwinnett tomorrow night. We'll keep promoting and letting you know what's going on in and around the state. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for hanging out with us. Fantastic show. Great education about the playoffs, and that's what this is all about. Sharing the state with the rest of the state and sharing the sport with the rest of the state as well. So for everybody here at SDH, we'll be back live 9:05 tomorrow with the morning show. Live noon tomorrow, once again, with Soccer's in Session Live. Fantastic stuff that we got to learn today from our friends down at Jeff Davis. So play it safe, mucha platial. It's the end of the show. That means we get to do this. Back at it again live, 9:05 with SDH. Back noon tomorrow with Soccer's in Session Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente, for all that you. See you tomorrow.